And so when we look at apples to apples, Mark, why don't we talk a little bit about some of the stuff that we offer that or a more mature organization offers that people should be looking for when they're out shopping for managed IT services, and what that price difference might look like?
For sure. So a few things are going to be your tool set, for one, like obviously remote management, things like that. Are they using a tool set that is purpose built for what we're doing, or is it something like a team viewer, or, something that's maybe not quite driven towards the MSP space? That'll be the first one. Antivirus we talked about, is it a next gen product versus, a home use product?
What's the difference between those? Like when you talk about next gen antivirus and like kind of more of your entry level business prosumer, as they call it, like professional consumer, like kind of what do you see there in those sets between what antivirus we believe people should be using versus what some of the older or less advanced antiviruses that are out there?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, without getting too technical and putting everybody to sleep, there are a few things that we can think of right off the bat. And first, how those definitions are updated. Like those are going to be some things that how frequently those definitions are updated. Advanced monitoring and alerting solutions. Is there a group of really smart people in the background that are looking at these threats and evaluating them in real time, or is it a couple of guys in a basement? I was one of those guys a long time ago, but are there a couple of guys in a basement coming up with virus definitions, a day after? We talked about log4j. It's kind of a timestamp on where we are right now. And there are a lot of antivirus products out there that I actually had a call with one, not one of ours, but that basically said, we think we're okay, and where you get, with the next gen AV, they're like, yep, we've already got everything blocklisted. We know exactly where the exploits are. We know what's going on. And we know how to protect you against it. After AV, there's zero trust, and zero trust is a really big deal. And you're not going to hear that about that product and in the smaller organizations, but understanding what is zero trust. Zero trust is a system that kind of operates outside of antivirus that is going to monitor traffic in your environment. And what it's designed to do is look at those, quote unquote, safe applications and make sure that they're not doing anything that they're not supposed to be doing. So essentially, if you can imagine a scenario where you're looking in Microsoft Word and you're just writing out a document, and then something happens and Microsoft Word tries to execute a command or put a payload, which could be a file that could potentially impact your network. This is a big deal, and zero trust will protect you against that. Outside of that, there's also business continuity, which, you've got your backup products, apples to apples. You hear, we see this a lot where you get clients or potential clients, really, they're like, we've got backups covered. And you find out that there's no offsite replication. There's no encryption at rest in the cloud, or an encryption at rest is your data protected when it's not doing anything? But you'll see that type of stuff. Right? Air gapped. Exactly.
Like having it segmented from the rest of your data, so that if your data are compromised, that the backups aren't compromised. Like it's an important thing to consider when looking at a backup solution as well.
Absolutely. And then, the integrations into a tool set that if something does go wrong, how quickly are your technicians able to get after it and see what's up? We've, all heard the horror stories of somebody that's, we've got backups, and then something happens and they haven't had a good backup in 3 months, 6 months. And why? Either alerting was set up incorrectly, or there's no real alerting offered,
or nobody's doing test restores, right? Like, I mean, that costs more money to have people and systems that do that, right?
Absolutely. There's individuals in the background, at least, for us, there's individuals in the background that are looking anywhere from monthly to quarterly to yearly, depending on the needs of the client, and then taking those needs of the client, whether it's due to some compliancy, or it's just internal rules that they've set up for themselves, or regulations, but regardless, having a body that is actually looking at these things and not only relying on the quote unquote robots to do it for you. That's a big distinction, I think.